Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. We're back on GT Sport and we're back with an FIA race at Monza in Group 4. Now this wasn't our final race of the day in this, but it was the most entertaining race, and it also had some controversy in this race. It was to do with between myself and Tidgney. It was no contact, it was great racing. I had a really fun race, but during the stream, some people were coming over and saying that we should have bump drafted Tidgney, which I don't like doing. I don't like being in a slipstream anyway, to be honest. If you've watched my streams in the past, you've always probably seen me. I say I prefer to be in clean air, but we had a situation where they wanted me to that or sit behind Tidgney and just let him take us forward in the race. However, I didn't agree with that strategy. I felt like my pace was better, especially after lap 3 or so. I think the pace was fairly even for the first 3 laps, but then after that the Aston Martin was 100% the better car, and we had some disagreement. But in this race, I'm going to actually show you kind of why I believe I made the right decision in what I did. Now watching this back, I've watched it back a few times, analysed the gaps, looked at the deltas, and it just confirms my belief that I actually think I made the correct decision in what I did in trying to get into the lead and push forward to the group that were ahead of us. So we're going to take a watch of this race. It was a really enjoyable race, some really entertaining racing going on, some really nice overtake moves as well, and it was really fun. I did enjoy it. It wasn't our final race, like I say. We had one more attempt after this, and again didn't quite hook the qualifying up. You can see in this race we started P11, so quite far down, and in the next race I think we started P8. We picked up a penalty though, which dropped us down. We got back up to I think P7 by the end of the race or something like that. But it wasn't a particularly exciting race. It was quite static and a bit boring the last race. So I wanted to upload this one because this was more entertaining, a lot closer racing, and it was just a really fun race to be in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You can see brake bias 4 to the rear because I was protecting my front tyres during this race and trying to look after them pretty much right from the start as well. I knew that my pace was capable of doing 136s for the first 2 laps if I was obviously in clean air. So we're going to try and push. I wanted to just push straight away and get past as many drivers as possible. No matter who was in front of me, I didn't really care if it was someone else streaming. I wanted to make progress in this race. So we're going to try and put the pressure on Tidgney straight away to see if we can make progress and to push forward to try and see if we can get as close as possible to them top 5 positions you're going to see. So going into turn 1, have a little look in the mirror. You will see Tuscan. He slipped his foot off the brake. It wasn't deliberate, this, he just made a mistake. Sideswiped Tidgney there, nearly wiped him out, but luckily Tidgney didn't pick up a penalty, didn't really lose any time, but Tuscan picked up the penalty for that, rightly so in a way. His foot slipped off the brake, but he still nearly cost some quite a lot. He could have pretty much wiped Tidgney out of this race. But we're going to try and have a little look now. Down the left hand side you can see there's a nice gap there. We've got a slipstream. We're going to have a little look. Are we going to risk it? I decided not to brake too late, just let Tidgney just tuck back in there. I could see he was going to hold that line anyway. There was no point fighting. That was a bit too far back, but now he's going to have to go defensive. I go to left and fake a little move down the right, just trying to make him there, make it aware that I want to get past. I want to make progress in this race. And having again another look on the inside there, I can see the battle up ahead. We've got a penalty for the Corvette in P9, so that's going to bump us both up a position during this race. You'll see there Tidgney picking up the slipstream with the Corvette. There wasn't no point me going over to that right hand side because obviously it wouldn't have picked up that much. I just decided to stay to left and then stay in the slipstream of Tidgney now into this braking zone. Now this is where the Mustang was much better than the TT. I was able to carry a lot more speed through these corners. I found the fast corners, but we got Jim B race there, which I seen as we were going through the corner. I kind of seen him going through, and I kind of hesitated a bit on the corner whether to go there, but luckily we got through that corner and maintained this position. So we're up to P9 now, picking up that slipstream again. I could have possibly had a look up the throwing one up the inside there, but I decided again not worth doing that. I'll go for the move on the start straight. We'll just try and get a nice solid exit from this corner, picking up the slipstream, and then go down into turn 1 and try and make a move there, because we've got a battle in front of us at this point between, I think it's the Aston Martin in front of us there. So what I was hoping now was I was going to take over the lead now, obviously from getting the slipstream and push on. But this is a point where I think a lot of people forgot about in this race, because Tidgney tried to defend it around the outside, and this costed us a lot of time now. So at this point that's cost us about half a second already, and I think if I was able to carry that line, I think the Mustang's a bit better through this middle sector, definitely. I think the Mustang had more medium speed cornering speed, and also through the Ascari chicane I think it was a bit better. But we're going to try again. We're going to pick up that slipstream and have a little go, because I really wanted to get past. I could see they were pulling away up in front, and I wanted to really get involved with that battle. You can see going into that corner, had to brake early again. There was no point risking throwing it through there, as it wouldn't have worked. We would have probably wiped Tidgeny out of this race. But again, we're going to just tuck back in, going through these corners. Again, you can see the Mustang, even in the slipstream, was just able to really get better exits. You can see on the Delta we're gaining, even though we're in the slipstream, coming out the corner again, gaining out on the exit and pushing forward. Now we're going to pick up a massive slipstream, obviously, because obviously you're going to get that on GT Sport, the strength of the slipstream on this game. And now going through to the Ascari chicane, you're going to see this is where I think the Mustang was a lot stronger than the Audi TT. The really fast corners with the left to the right, you'll see now it just seemed to be able to carry a lot more speed coming out the corner, a lot more stable through there, and was just generally a better car through that corner. You can see how much time we gained, about 2-3 tenths on that one corner, and now we've got the slipstream all the way up the straight. We're going to have, again, are we going to be able to look up the inside to make a move on this right hand side? I've decided we're going to go for it, because pretty much in the braking zone there, taking it nice and easy, brake not too late, hold the tight line to the apex, and then I expected Tidgeny just to tuck in behind me. He did try and hang it around the outside a bit, but then tucks in behind, and then now we're going to be obviously fighting into turn one. But will he just bump draft? It looks like he's going to bump draft this. This is what I didn't want, though, because anyone who will know that what happened to me in another race when someone bumped draft me, we lost about 30 SR points, and we needed probably to do another race after this. And at this point in this race, we were only on 90 SR when we entered it, because we had an issue in the Nations race. So I wasn't really too keen on getting bump drafted, really, because it can really affect your SR. And also, you don't know if it can sometimes randomly give you a penalty, because it has happened. We've seen it in many videos on Twitter where someone's been given a penalty for bump drafting. So it's not something I like to really be given to me now after the videos I've seen. And this, going into this braking zone, I didn't really want this bump draft there right before the braking zone. That unsettled me a bit. You can see the car going in a little bit too fast. It got unsettled. And again, I would have preferred not to have had that bump draft into that corner there just before the braking zone, but we got away with it, and we're still gaining on the battle in front. You can see at the moment we're about 1.7, 1.8 seconds behind. They're going to pick up the slipstream from each other down the straights, but they were battling, so I felt pretty confident that we'd be able to get him. We started the lap about 2 seconds behind, and we're still gaining, getting better exits than them from that second Lesmo there, and also managing to put a little bit of a gap to myself and Tidgeny on that corner as well. It seems like now we're coming to the end of lap 3, that TT does seem to be struggling with the front tyres a little bit. You'll see it through this really fast flowing Ascari chicane again. This is where the Mustang was so strong. You can see the gap increasing as we go through here. I was able to pull that gap out there, and I gained quite a big chunk on P6 and P5. And at this stage, this is where I think, for me personally, Tidgeny's tyres are starting to wear. I personally think he would have been best just to sit behind, use my slipstream, maintain his position, because I don't think any car will be able to overtake that TT when he's in a slipstream, and then just try and hold fire while I try and catch these up. Because at this situation now, we're only 1.3, we gained 7 tenths on that lap. You're going to see my lap time now. It's a personal best. We've got clear air at 157.3. Not an amazing lap, but it's quite a solid lap as we go down into the chicane, and we're not far behind the battle in front. But Tidgeny decides to go for the move and put himself into ahead of me at this stage, which is, he's got the right to do, and like I say, I had no problem with it. So we're going to defend that and try and hold our line all the way through the corner. But this is going to lose us time, and this is the point which I think a lot of people forgot about when they came into my stream again, because the TT was slower from this point onwards than the Mustang, and I feel like it would have made more sense for me to be the leading car. But it was great racing so far, really clean, really entertaining, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the battle. You can see again going through this corner, Tidgeny does a really nice late break there. I give him space, he holds the outside line, great driving, and then we get a little nudge from behind from Slem, which took me by surprise and nearly nudged me into Tidgeny. And this is another reason why I wanted to get ahead, because we're starting to get drawn in from cars coming from behind now, with the battling, and so I wanted to just get past Tidgeny and work my way up to P6 and see if we can make ourselves into our way into P6 in this race. As you can see there, we got Org as well, who's in the Cayman. The Cayman is a very strong car in the slipstream, and also it's better on tyres than the Mustang and the TT. So we needed to really try and find a way past Tidgeny as soon as possible, because his tyres were going to be fading now. And you could see through here, look how much less speed he's able to carry through there. He's just not got the confidence in the front tyres as much as I have in the Mustang. And this is why I feel like it would have been better for him to sit behind me on going into that turn 1 and let me push on, because you can see how much time we've lost to the battle up front. We've lost about 1.5 seconds. We were 1.3 seconds going down the straight, and now we're over 3 seconds behind, I think, pretty much. Let's have a little look. No, 2.5 seconds behind, so we've lost about 1.2 seconds in that battle, but we managed to go for that move, put ourselves into P7, and then Slent manages to take advantage of that and gets himself ahead of the TT also. So now, is he going to go for a move on me, or is he going to try bump draft me? I really didn't want, you can see I'm staying to the right because I didn't want him to bump draft me really. I was just going to defend line, but he gives me another nudge there, so I was kind of like not really enjoying it, because you know that it can affect your SR as we go into the braking zone, and he's not going to throw the move up the inside there. He's going to stay behind and let the Mustang drag him forward in this race, as we get a massive moment of oversteer going into that corner where we're trying to really get on the power nice and early and work our way now up to P6. You can see in P6 is Williams Adam in the Aston Martin Vantage Group 4 car. So I was pretty confident, if depending on what how his tyres were. I didn't know whether he was looking after the tyres as much as I was. I knew I'd done quite a good job with the balance and stuff and getting used to the car with the forward to the rear bias, and it kind of did help towards the end of the race in terms of how fast this Mustang could be on the last few laps. But you can see now we've got quite a bit of a gap to make up to William, over 3 seconds to the next car in front of us. We've got Slent behind us pushing on, but again, I expected that car to fade off with the tyres. Four-wheel drive car. I think he's in the I think it's the Mazda that's behind me. I'm not sure if it's a Mazda or if it's the yeah, I think it's the Mazda, the Atenza that's behind us there, the Group 4 Mazda. So that car, four-wheel drive, is going to suffer with tyre wear towards the last few laps also. But at the moment, he's picking up that slipstream, which is helping him out. But again, through this corner, I expected that the Mustang would be able to build a little bit of a gap to them cars. So again, doing that quite nicely there and gaining quite a big chunk of time on Williams Adams. I think he actually has got another penalty there in front of us. Half a second penalty. That's going to cost him a bit of time and give me the chance to get a little bit closer when he actually goes to take. You see Slent having a little look up on the inside there, realises he's a bit too far behind to make that move and backs out of it as we get on the power nice and early through the final corner to try and give ourselves maximum speed down this straight. Now you see the delta is gaining on Williams Adams there in P6. I can see that I'm gaining time on him. The Mustang, this felt really nice. Now you can see we're still in the 1:37s. We've got Slent behind us. He's going to go down the left hand side. I'm going to have to go defensive just in case he tries to hang it round the outside from this position, but again, he's not really far enough ahead there, so I just take the normal racing line and I'm able to keep that position. And now we get a really nice exit from that corner, which was perfect because now we're going to be close to breaking that slipstream. At this point now, when you're over 6 tenths behind, it's going to be much harder for that Atenza to gain too much time on the Mustang. The Mustang is a faster car on acceleration and top speed, and now we've got the better tyres as well, and you can see that gap is getting closer to Williams Adams in front of us as we go through the second chicane, trying to hook it up nicely, hitting the curves pretty much spot on there, using the full track width on the power again nicely. You can see that Atenza is just in the slipstream at the moment, able to sit in there. And one thing about the Mazda is it's very good in a slipstream, which is quite it's quite surprising. I think it must be something to do with the gearing on that car. I did notice at Interlagers, I think we had the same situation. I think it was Slent then that was gaining massive amounts in the slipstream. I can't remember if it was Slent or another driver, but it was definitely the Mazda that was really fast in the slipstream. It might be because it must be something to do with the gearing, as we're now so close to picking up the slipstream of the car in front. You can see we're about 3 tenths behind the slipstream range of that Aston Martin after he took his penalty, and now we're going to push on and try and see if we can put Williams Adams under some pressure, as we've managed to get rid of that slipstream pretty much now to RC Slent as we go on this back straight to see if we can put pressure on and make a move and get ourselves up into P6 in this very close race. But obviously one thing I did know in this race would be that the Aston Martin was going to be not the easiest car to pass. It is another car that is very fast in a straight line compared with the Mustang, both very similar types of cars, quite heavy on the front tyre wear, although I have started getting used to looking after the tyre wear on the Mustang recently. You can see our tyre wear is still very good, and we go over the line on lap 6 with a personal best of the race. That shows you how much pace we had in this Mustang. I think we could have been doing 1:36s on the first few laps, but like I say, we were a bit held up with battling and stuff, and now we go into the first chicane, trying to hook that up nicely. Now we're right in that slipstream with that Aston Martin, and going to be able to put him under some pressure and see if we can make a move somewhere. You can see he's obviously, you can see he's going a little bit defensive. He's trying to stop us getting as much of the slipstream as possible as we go to the right hand side of the track and now into the next braking zone. We've got to be very cautious now though, because the tyres are starting to fade. We've got the brake bias all the way to the rear, and this is where, when you're in a slipstream picking up that kind of toe, it gets really tricky driving the Aston Martin when you're in a slipstream. The rear just wants to step out all the time. So this is another reason why I don't like being in a slipstream too much in this car when you've got to look after the tyres, because it can really slide the rear out, start wearing the tyres a lot, and that's one thing I don't like, obviously, in a race where you need to be looking after your tyres for that final lap. But you can see we've managed to pull away now from P8 and P9, and we've got ourselves a nice gap, and we can just push on now for this lap and then see if we can find a way past the Aston Martin on the final lap. It'll be really interesting if we can find a way to do it. The tyres are looking okay. The car felt really good during this phase of the race. It felt still able to do 57s. It didn't really feel like there was any issue as we go into the final, this really fast chicane. And again, the Aston Martin looks fairly strong through there, much like the Mustang, able to carry good speed. But you can see Williams Adams trying to get rid of that slipstream as much as possible, going straight over to the left hand side of the track. But we're fully in that slipstream draft now into the final corner, and we're going to make sure we don't brake too late, because we don't want to slide the car. Braking pretty much spot on there, staying in 4th gear. We're not going to go down to 3rd gear to unsettle the car. We're going to stay in 4th gear. That enables us to get a really nice draft down the straight. Now you can see he knows that I'm right in the draft. We're going to sit behind him and see if we can make a move. He's gone really defensive, kicking up all the dust over the track, and now we're going to have to swing to the left. He's also going to obviously come over to the left hand side of the track as well to widen his line into the chicane. As we hit the brakes as late as possible, we brake pretty much the exact spot that he does. He brakes a little bit late there. We try and do the undercut, trying to work him now from side to side to see if we can find a way past. You can see that Aston Martin is starting to look more and more unsettled as we're putting him under a lot of pressure on this final lap now, trying to figure a way past. It's not the easiest track to pass when you've got a fast car in front of you. He's going to go to the left hand side to defend that line. We're going to stay on the right hand side, and you can see the power of that Aston Martin starts kicking in, and we can't find the way past on the right hand side. So I brake nice and early, and again we're going to try and get the undercut somehow, so we come out the corner a little bit faster. We come out the corner really nicely, go to the right hand side. We're not going to be able to throw it in there, but we stay to the right hand side just to try and compromise his entry into that corner so he doesn't feel safe turning in. I was never going to throw it in there, and now we're going to be very close going on through the second part of the Lesmo. Can we make a move through this corner? It's not looking like it's possible to get an exit speed to make a move down the straight. We'll try our best, picking up the slipstream, seeing if we can go to the right hand side, but again we're not going to be able to get the draft to really make a move. We're going back into the draft again to try and get a little bit extra, just to try and compromise his entry into this chicane, the fast chicane. And again we do that, run wide, and then give ourselves a really solid exit from this corner now by again just trying to compromise his lines through the corners as much as possible. We get a solid exit there, and now we're picking up a really strong slipstream. Are we going to be able to make this move on the final corner? It's going to have to be done the hard way, around the outside if possible, and to do it to a driver like Williams Adams will not be easy. Braking as late, you can see how late we was on the brakes then, managing to brake really late, having to go down into 3rd gear just to stop the car, to stop it running all the way out onto the outside of the track. But managing to do that and hold the position as well, an amazing move on the final lap to put myself into P6 in this race. And what an entertaining race. I thoroughly enjoyed that. The battling with Tidgney before, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I was just a bit wound up when during the stream I was a bit annoyed that people were coming in telling me I should have waited behind him, which would have made, in my opinion, I'm still watching it back, you could see it there, the evidence was there, we were gaining on the car in front, and then he fought at the end of the start of lap 4, which I think, personally I think the TT was starting to lose pace at that point, and it would have made more sense to stay in my slipstream, but it didn't go that way. We had a really fun race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the battle with Tidgney, and that final lap battle was really entertaining, and we managed to get ourselves into P6. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification button so you don't miss any future videos, and we'll be back with more live streams and more catch-ups from the FIA series over the next few weeks. Thanks again for watching, everyone.